Hey everybody, how's it going? This is the Scrapper Tap podcast. Today we're going to break down a great card. We got Khabib versus Gaethje. Man, I'm super excited for this one. Justin Gaethje's coming off a great performance, and we've been waiting for Khabib to get back in there. And also the co-main event is going to be a great fight. We have a bunch of title contentions in that one. If Jared Cannonier wins, he gets a shot at Israel Adesanya. This is going to be a fun card to break down. The main card is very stacked. The whole card's very good. But as we always do, let's go do a quick recap over UFC Fight Night Ortega versus the Korean Zombie. So we went 7 for 11, and I broke my streak for the main card. Man, I've been on a good little streak. I believe it was 6 or 7. I know it was like a 6 main event streak, and I was on a little run, but I went with the Korean Zombie, and he did not get it done. Brian Ortega looked great, man. All props to him. He did not do it in the fashion that I thought if he did win the fight that he would have to do it in. Man, he stood up there and outstruck the Korean Zombie, and I did not see that coming. I was kind of correct on the takedowns. You know, he did have a takedown after he stunned the Korean Zombie, but you know, he didn't wasn't really able to get takedowns. Korean Zombie was stuffing him, but man, he was definitely piecing apart the Korean Zombie. Brian Ortega looked great, and let's see what's next for him. Jessica Andrade looked great. We took her over to Chukagian. She looked amazing, got it done, and man, she's gonna be a problem in that division. Jillian Robertson looked very good over Patello, got the finish. Park Jung-young looked good as well. Man, there's a lot of good finishes. Said Nurmagomedov looked amazing. Got a quick finish over Mark Striegel. Did not quite see it going down like that. I thought it would be a little bit closer of a fight. Maybe him get a finish late in the fight. But, man, he looked amazing. All in all, this was a great card. Like I said, we went 7 for 11. And I was off on the main event. But we're going to get back on it with this one. Hopefully, because it's a great main card, and you never know, man. Main event. So, we're going to go through the prelims like we always do. We're going to fire through, and then we're going to break down the main card a little more, and especially that main event. So, here we go. The first one. We got the minus 155 Joel Alverez versus Alexander Yakovlev, the plus 135. All right, man. So we got a big age gap here. Yakovlev is coming in at 36 years old, and Joel Alverez is 26 years old. We're going to start with Joel. Man, I'm a fan of him. He looked really good his last fight out against Joseph Duffy. Looked real strong, and he got the submission over him. Before that, he lost in a decision fight. But, man, he's looking good. His last outing got that nice submission. I'm sorry, he had a KO over Bellarado before that, and then he had a decision loss February in 2019. So 2019 he had 2 fights, and then July 18th he had that fight against Joseph Duffy. All right, man. So he's been pretty active, and man, he's on the rise, and he's a strong kid, and I think he's a very durable fighter, as well as a very sharp striker. I like him a lot. And Yakovlev, he's a good fighter, very experienced. We haven't seen him since 2019. Lost to Roosevelt Roberts by decision, which I'm a big fan of. I'm riding with Roosevelt Roberts. And then he had the submission win before that in De Silva. So he's coming off a loss. But he's been fighting great competition. I think since 2015 he's been in there with great opponents. Gray Maynard. He had a decision win over Gray Maynard in 2015. In 2016, he fought guys like Zach Cummins, Kamaru Usman. So, man, he's been in there with killers. Just the age is catching up to him, and then you fight an up-and-coming stud like Joel Alvarez, which is hungry and very durable. But like I said, I think he's going to get it done. I think he's going to get a TKO late, if not just get a decision win. I'm taking Joel Alvarez to get it done. All right, after that, we got the plus 335 Lillian Jojua versus Miranda Maverick, the minus 420. Miranda Maverick was supposed to fight, I think a few months ago, and it was canceled. But like I said on that last breakdown, she looked like a very strong wrestler. She She beat Pearl Gonzalez. She looked good, so she's having really good competition coming into this debut that she's making with the UFC. And I was rolling with her then, and that was against, I think, Borella, which I'm not a big fan of. So it's a slight stepping up, possibly in competition. She's coming off a submission win. But, man, I'm just going to have to take Miranda Maverick. I like the wrestling here. I think she's going to be able to take her down. Also, Lilian Jojua has a KO lost against Sarah Marias, and that's tough to, it's tough to bet on an opponent that has lost to Sarah Marias the way she did. So I am going to have to roll with the big favorite, Miranda Maverick. I think there's going to be a lot of takedowns in that fight, and that might be a good DK play. I'm not going to go too hard on it. Just making her debut, who knows? But I think she's going to be pretty strong in that flyweight division. So I'm taking Miranda Maverick to get it done by decision. All right. And then we go into the prelims, the regular prelims. We just broke down the early prelims. We're going to start it off. We will start it off with Jung Da-un, the minus 345 against Sam Alvey. All right, Sam Alvey. We all know Sam Alvey. He's been around for a while. He's 34 years old, and he's a very reliable, durable, old tough fighter, and he's not afraid to sit in there and bang with you and stay in that pocket. His last fight, he took on Ryan Spann, lost a decision, but to go the full three with Ryan Spann, which is a young, up-and-coming, tough prospect, that's pretty good for the older guy. But like I said, he's very durable. Before that, he has a decision loss against Abreu, and then a KO loss against Jimmy Crute. So, man, he has lost 3 in a row. Let's make that 4 in a row. He lost to Nogueira before that in 2018 by KO. So, man, he hasn't had a win since June of 2018 against Vellante. I'm going to have to go with Jung Da-un here. He's 26 years old, and he's a tough kid as well. Speaking of durable, he has a KO win over Mike Rodriguez, and that really put him on the map and really showed that he's here to compete with a bunch of killers. And before that, he had a submission win over Ibragimov. So, he has 2 really good wins coming into this UFC, man. His trajectory is looking really good. I think this is going to be a nice little step up in competition. I don't know if it's much of a step up. Mike Rodriguez is a killer that you got to watch out for, but very good experience and a smart fighter, in Sam Alvey. So I think this is going to be a good step up for him. I'm going to take Jung Da-un to get it done, and I'm going to go by decision because Sam Alvey's tough, man. I won't be surprised if Jung KOs him or TKOs him. I actually want to switch that up to a late TKO. I think Alvey's going to sit in there and try to land something, He's a tough opponent, but Jung Da-un, I think, will eventually catch him. I think he's a bit quicker than, the aging Sam Alvey as well. So I'm taking Jung Da-un to get it done. After that, we got the minus 125 Alex Oliveira versus Shavkat Rakhmonov, the plus 105. So I did my studying, a little bit of studying on Rakhmonov. And, I understand why a few people that I follow that were backing him. And, man, he's a scrappy, good, tough fighter. And that's actually why the odds aren't too far. It's a minus 1. Alex Oliveira is a minus 125 with all that experience and the opponents he's fought and the wins he does have. Kind of surprised me that it's that close. But this Rakhmonov is not a joke, man. He looks really good. He's a scrappy opponent. He's going to come in there and bang with Alex Oliveira. And the thing with Alex Oliveira, when he shows up, he's a world-class opponent. When he doesn't, he makes some silly mistakes, gets caught in positions that you would not expect. But the last couple fights, he has looked really good. I actually was going against him in the last fight. He took on Sabata, got a decision win, and Max Griffin. I was taking Max Griffin on that one, and he got a decision win. He has shown up. He's looked good in his last 2 fights. The question is, will he be too much for Shavkat Rakhmonov? But Rakhmonov's been fighting pretty tough opponents, in other promotions. Alex Oliveira, what I will say is it's going to be hard to put money against him. I don't know who's going to show up. Maybe weigh-ins will help a little bit, you know, see how he comes in. But I'm going to take Alex Oliveira to get it done by decision. But I will not be surprised. And you will see later when I come to my my underdogs and locks. You will see who I'm taking. I will not be surprised if Rakhmonov, gets it done, catches Alex Oliveira in a submission or just, some type of TKO. But I'm going to take the experience. I'm taking Cowboy Alex Oliveira to get it done. After that, we got the plus 175 Nathaniel Wood versus Casey Kenney, the minus 200. This one is a good one. Man, this is definitely a fun prelim fight. That's, this card is definitely stacked because there's a few fights on these prelim cards that definitely are worthy, making the bottom of a main card. And I would say it's this fight and the next one we're going to break down. But let's go through this one first. And if you've been rocking with me since the beginning, since I started recording earlier this year, I'm a big fan of Casey Kenney. I like him a lot, man. He's coming off a nice little run of wins. He had a decision win over Alatang, and then he has a submission win over Smolka before that. And before the Smolka submission, he lost a decision against Merab. But man, Merab Dvalishvili is a beast, and that's totally an understandable loss. I think he's going to grow from that, and he has been. He's been looking really good, but this is going to be a close war, man. These guys match up very well. Records are very similar. Casey Kenney, is 15-2-1. Nathaniel Wood is 17-4. Wood's coming in at 5'5". Casey Kenney 5'6". Casey Kenney 29 years old. Nathaniel Wood 27. These guys are virtually identical. The reach is only one inch reach advantage for Nathaniel Wood. This is going to be a very scrappy fight. I see it probably going to decision. Nathaniel Wood's coming off a decision win over John Castaneda, and then a KO loss against John Dodson. But John Dodson he's a beast, man. He's a legend, so we can't really hate on him for that. Man, yeah. And before that, in 2019, he has a nice submission win over Quinones. So, man, he's been in there with some beast as well. This is going to be a fun fight. This would not surprise me if somehow steals the fight of the night, because I think it's going to be that kind of scrap. But, I'm not going to jump to that. I'm rolling with Casey Kenney. I'm rolling with is it a pick'em? No, yeah, I'm rolling with the slight favorite, Casey Kenney, to get it done by decision. I think that's going to be a fun scrap. But yeah, I got to roll with my guy, Casey Kenney. All right, after that, we got the minus 115 Stefan Struve versus Tai Tuivasa, the minus 105. All right, Tai Tuivasa is 10-3. He's 27 years old, but he's coming off a couple losses, man. And I've been rolling with him. I picked him against Spivak as well as Ivanov. He let me down in both of them. He was submitted by Spivak and lost a decision against Ivanov. Ivanov, that's understandable. He's very tough, super durable, tough to get out of there. So I understand losing that submission, but Spivak getting submitted, that one really hurt, man. That one's a tough one. And before that, he fought Junior Dos Santos and was KO'd. It is what it is, man. JDS, he's going to do that to these young upcomers. And before that, he had a win over Arlovsky. So, I'm still rocking with Tai Tuivasa. Big fan of him. I'm hoping he gets a nice win here and turns it back around. Tries to make a run in this heavyweight division. I feel like he's talented enough. Will those skills, catch up to these other guys, man? I'm not too sure, but let's see. So let's break down Stefan Struve. He's coming off a KO loss against Ben Rothwell back in 2019, and then before that, he had a submission win over De Lima. Man, Stefan Struve, he's a tough one to bet on. He's a 500 fighter, that type of fighter. He's gonna come in there. He'll surprise you with some nice wins, and then he'll lose to guys like Tybura when you don't expect it, But he's been in he's been in there with guys like Ben Rothwell, DeLima, Arlovsky. He's been in there with some legends. He's been in there with studs. Alexander Volkov. He was KO'd by Alexander Volkov. That chin is very suspect. If you watched his fights, you know he can do his thing and he can crack people and even submit people. But that chin, if it gets caught, he can go to sleep. And I think Tai Tuivasa can get in there and do that. I don't think Struve's going to put Tai Tuivasa away unless somehow he clips him and then maybe catches him in a submission, a quick guillotine. But I do not see Stefan Struve doing that. I'm going to have to take my boy Tai Tuivasa to get back. This is basically a pick 'em. But I'm taking Tai Tuivasa to get back on track with a nice KO over Stefan Struve in the first round. I'm taking a first round KO Tai Tuivasa. And then we get into the main card. All right. So this next fight, man, we broke down so many times already. It's supposed to happen, I think, 4 or 5 times. I'm not sure. I might be exaggerating, but it feels like that. The minus 300. Magmed Ankalaev versus Ian Cutelaba, the plus 250. Guys, every time I broke this fight down, I ended up rolling with the underdog, Cutelaba. I feel like that last fight shouldn't have been stopped. But I understand why Ankalaev is the favorite. I get it. And as this fight keeps getting pushed back, I keep wanting to switch. It's like I want to make that smart call, but for some reason, I'm rocking with the underdog. I like Ian Cutelaba here. I think he's going to come out mad that this has been postponed so much. I know it's not out of these guys' hands, but I think he's mad that it's been postponed and that it was called a KO. And I hope, he's going to be able to control his emotions and come in there and get it done against a very tough opponent, Ankalaev. Ankalaev's been on a run. He's been, obviously the KO over Ian Cutelaba. But even before that, he's been on a nice little run of KOs. And he fought Debreu, got a decision and a KO over Bula. So, man, this is going to be a tough one to call. But I'm going to have to take Ian Cutelaba. It's a big underdog, and I like it. So that's going to be my big underdog of the night, Ian Cutelaba over Ankalaev. I broke that down so many times. So if there's like little pieces of it that you want to see, technical pieces that I break down on that one, you can go check out the other ones. But I'm rolling with the underdog, Ian Cutelaba. All right. After that, we got the minus 240 Lauren Murphy versus Lilia Shakirova, the plus 200. So I had to do my research on Lilia. The only fight I found and watched, I think it was February, early this year, 2020. And she was robbed in a fight, but man, it was such a slow pace, kind of boring, just basically jabbing and walking down the opponent the whole time. Her opponent would throw a jab, a very weak jab every once in a while, catch her. But I don't know where the fight took place. But man, she was definitely robbed. But man, it's not the output you want in one of these flyweight fighters. And I like Lauren Murphy here, guys. And the reason being, she's not gonna. It might be a little bit slower. She might be a slower fighter, maybe more plotty, but she's going to come in there and bang, and she's going to try to crack you. And the opponents that Lilia Shakirova was facing, they did not have that in them. You can tell they weren't in there to kill. And I don't think Lauren Murphy's going to sit there and just let you throw a little weak jab and every once in a while come with the overhand right. That's all it really was jab, jab, right, jab, jab. And, she definitely, I thought she won the fight. She walked down the opponent the whole time, but man, that's not going to work against Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy is coming off a win over Roxanne Modafferi and Andrea Lee. Both decision wins, but I'm not going to be surprised if she cracks her opponent here, like she did Borrella and gets a KO. I'm taking Lauren Murphy for a let's go second round TKO, Lauren Murphy. All right. After that, we got the plus 220 Jacob Malkoun versus Phil Hawes, the minus 260. All right. So let's start with Phil Hawes. Okay, yeah. So Phil Hawes is coming in at 31 years old. Jacob is 25, a little bit younger. So I believe they're both making their UFC debut. Did we see Phil Hawes on the Contender Series? I believe. Trying to pull that up. But I want to say, I got y'all. I'm going to pull up his Tapology really quick. I want to say he had a fight or maybe two in the Contender Series, because there's a reason I know of him, you know. Yeah, okay. So he had a win in the Contender Series, an overhand right, and then ground and pound, and then he came back. No, and then it's just this fight. So maybe we saw him earlier. Either way, so we did end up seeing him in the UFC, the Contender Series. He had a nice win, and now he's getting his UFC debut. Man, he looks pretty good. He's a specimen in there, and I'm going to make this pretty short because what I saw of his opponent wasn't much, guys. And maybe y'all can let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's some tape, but he's also only 4-0, so there wasn't too much to find on this Jacob Malkoun guy. I looked at what I could, and he doesn't look all that great. I want to say if I'm going just off the eye test, I'm taking Phil Hawes, and that's definitely not what you want to do. So go make, you want to do a little research before you put a bet on. And what I found on Phil Hawes is definitely better. We saw him in the Contender Series. There was a reason he was there, and maybe I'm sleeping on this Jacob kid, or what I saw just wasn't the best of him, but he is 4-0, so that does look good. But I'm taking Phil Hawes here, and the odds makers are obviously sitting there with me. He's sitting at the -260, so I'm taking Phil Hawes to get it done. And we're gonna go by TKO. Let's go with the TKO stoppage. All right. After that, we got the -170 Alexander Volkov versus Walt Harris, the +150. All right, guys. So Walt Harris is coming back after his last loss. His last fight, he fought Overeem, and he lost. He looked really good in the beginning. He clipped him, and then, he got a little worn down, and Overeem definitely took over, got on top of him, and finished the fight. Walt Harris is the beast, and, man, he can find that first-round KO like he did over Olenek, as he did over Spivak. But once he gets into those later rounds, that's when things can be, it gets a little tricky for him. Yes, he does have that second-round KO over Daniel Spitz. So he definitely can get it done a little bit later. But, man, you want to see, if you're taking Walt Harris, you want to see him coming out strong in that first round and landing those big shots. The issue, he's taking on Alexander Volkov. And to be honest, I thought they were very close in age, but Walt Harris is already 37 years old. I thought he was early 30s, and Volkov's coming in at 31 years old with a 3-inch reach as well. But, Alexander Volkov he had his title run. He's been in there. His last fight, he took on Curtis Blades. He lost a decision, but, Curtis Blades is a beast. He has a nice decision win over Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy, but he got a nice win. He has a KO loss over Derek Lewis, and then a KO win over Fabricio Verdum. And before that, I'm just giving a quick run through. KO over Struve, and then a decision win over Roy Nelson. That dates all the way back to 2017. So he's off and on, and when he fights those big fighters, like Curtis Blades, but, Curtis Blades also has that wrestling. But guys like Derek Lewis, it gets a little tricky in there, man. They can land that big overhand right and knock anybody out in the heavyweight division. But I feel like he needs to fight this one like he did, Verdum, or like, I want to say the Greg Hardy fight, because, he just had to avoid that overhand right. And I don't think he really has to worry about Walt Harris's fight. So I think it's going to come down closer to the Greg Hardy style of fight. I don't know if he'll land that KO over Walt Harris, but I think Walt Harris, after the first round, if he does not get that KO, I think he's going to get a little bit tired. And Volkov, I don't think is going to get tired. I think he's going to be able to sit there and pick Walt Harris apart from distance. I see first or second round, Walt Harris has to close that distance, and I can see him getting that KO. But I like Alexander Volkov's chances. I think if his chin can hold up after that first round, taking a couple of Walt's big overhand rights, because I think he will land a few of them. I think Walt Harris will slow down in the second or third, and that's going to fall into Alexander Volkov's game. And I think the volume will step up. He might get a finish, but I'm gonna stay safe with a decision win for Alexander Volkov over Walt Harris. And then after that, we're getting into the co-main event. This one's a really good one. We got the -105 Robert Whittaker versus the -115. It's basically a pick'em Jared Cannonier. Like I said in the beginning of the video, the winner of this one will be getting most likely a middleweight title shot, unless it's maybe if it's only Jared Cannonier gets the win, maybe he's getting a title shot. Maybe the UFC will make Robert Whittaker get another nice win before they give him the rematch, since that first fight against Adesanya was that brutal. But Jared Cannonier is the fresh meat in the middleweight division. Fresh meat, but 36 years old, coming against the 29-year-old Robert Whittaker. Now, Jared Cannonier has already came down, I believe, 3 divisions, guys. The evolution of Jared Cannonier has been great to see. He's got way more fit, just way quicker. Man, he looks like a beast. He definitely looks like he should be in the middleweight division. And, those previous years that he spent in other divisions, that just wasn't where he should have been. 185 looks to be his spot. So he's been on a little run. He has not fought in 2020 yet, but back in 2019, he had a KO win over Jack Hermanson. Before that, KO'd Israel Adesanya. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, then he would be the champion. I'm sorry. Over Anderson Silva. And then a KO win over Daniel Branch, and a KO loss before that to Dominic Reyes. So he's coming off 3 straight KO wins, and before that he lost to Dominic Reyes, who was just fighting for the title, and that was in the light heavyweight division. So he has not lost since he made that move to middleweight division. But the reason I bring up that loss in the lightweight division, because he was hanging with guys like fighting guys like Dominic Reyes in the light heavyweight division. Yes, he lost, but he also took on Jan Blachowicz, lost a decision. My point is he could not hang with those light heavyweights. He had to make the right choices. He did. Middleweight division looks to be where he fits. He has that KO over a Branch, and then back-to-back KO wins Silva and then Hermanson. Look, Robert Whittaker, he showed us he is not done. He showed us that he can still hang. He went and won a tough decision over Darren Till, guys. And Darren Till is not a joke, man. He's a very talented prospect that's still trying to find his way, and he's still very young. But that loss against Israel Adesanya was very brutal, and a lot of people, lowered their stock in Robert Whittaker after that loss, and I don't think it's right, because we know how good Israel Adesanya is. He came back and showed us he can hang with the best, and took out Darren Till, won by decision. And it would not surprise me if he gets a win over Jared Cannonier, but I like him. Jared Cannonier is one of my dark horses, and I like him here in this spot. I think he's gonna, something is gonna have to, he's hungry. He's very hungry, and he knows a win gets him a title shot. I think something's gonna kick in. I think he's gonna get it done over Robert Whittaker, and I think it's gonna be pretty nasty. I think it's gonna be a KO. And I won't be surprised first round KO for Jared Cannonier over Robert Whittaker. If this just stays boxing, I can definitely see Robert Whittaker outpointing him the whole time. But I'm hoping that big 4.5 inch reach or 4-inch reach for Jared Cannonier plays a big part. I think he's able to land something. I think he's going to get him to the ground, maybe land some hammer fist. But I'm taking a TKO for Jared Cannonier over Robert Whittaker. And man, that's a tough one, guys. That's why the odds are so close. We got it's 105 versus minus 115. But I'm rocking with Jared Cannonier, and I would like to see him get that title shot over to Israel Adesanya. All right, guys, we're going to the one we've been waiting for, the main event. We got Khabib Nurmagomedov, the minus 350 versus Justin Gaethje, the plus 270. All right. So these guys both, basically virtually identical. We got a 70-inch reach for both of them, both obviously 105. Gaethje's 5'9", Khabib's 5'8". Gaethje's 31, Khabib's 32, man, both basically in their prime. And we're going to start with Khabib. We got to start with the champ. Give him his respect. We know what he's about. We know what he's here for. He's here to maul everybody. In 2019, he fought Dustin Poirier, submitted him. It was a mauling all 3 rounds, basically, guys. I mean, come on. And before that, he submitted my boy Conor McGregor and made him look nasty, man. He's undefeated for a reason. He's taken out the best. The only things maybe negative or, some downfalls that have happened, not even downfalls, wrong wording. But, the loss of his father. and which is also, his coach. Maybe that has played a part. Maybe he might get a little emotional, maybe things like that. But if you're just going off, the paper and how this guy performs, he's flawless, 28-0, and he's mauled just about everybody he's been in there with. He's the champ for a reason, and man, I don't know if Justin Gaethje can do it, but let's see. Let's break down Justin Gaethje, guys, because I don't have this one underlined for a reason. I make all my picks first, but I'm making this one live as I break it down with you guys. We're gonna break down Justin Gaethje, 22-2. Oh, and he's been a killer. He's the highlight reel for a reason. He fought Tony Ferguson this last fight and stole Tony Ferguson's title shot against Khabib with 5 rounds of just outworking Tony Ferguson and making it look easy. And he got that KO late in the 5th round. But before that, he was doing the same stuff to guys like Donald Cerrone in 2019, and Edson Barbosa KO'd both of them. So he's on a 3-fight big winning streak. Before that, he took out James Vick and then lost to Dustin Poirier. So he's on a 4-fight winning streak, pure KOs. This guy's in there, kill or be killed. And I know in the last couple years, since 2018, I think he changed up his game plan a little bit and try to just basically kill and not be killed, not take as many blows. He does not like when you say he's just a fighter that comes in there and throws caution to the wind, because he says this is a game plan, and I believe it with Whitman as his coach. I think Trevor Whitman's going to have a good game plan for this one. If anybody's going to beat Khabib, I think it's going to be Gaethje. I know Khabib says he wants to go 30-0 and retire. That could happen. So if he's only doing 2 fights, this is the best chance, man. Justin Gaethje, he's a great wrestler. He will only use it basically for defensive wrestling because he likes to, get that knockout, man. He likes that bonus. But this is that title shot. I think he's going to try to be very smart. I think him and Trevor are coming up with a great game plan. I think he knows when and where Khabib is going to try to come and take him down. I think he has some plans. I would not be surprised if he tries to do something as Khabib takes him down. I don't know, but maybe he's just going to use that defense and trust his conditioning to be able to keep getting back up and then eventually land that punch, because that's what it's going to take against Khabib, man. He's going to chain wrestle you to death until you're done, gassed, and submit you most likely, or ground and pound you. He's done that to just about every opponent, and he looks to do that again to Justin Gaethje. And it'd kind of be a fool for me to go against Khabib and rock with Justin Gaethje. But man, you can call me a fool. I'm rocking with Justin Gaethje to get the upset. I think he's gonna land something, guys. I think the first round's gonna look pretty ugly. It's either gonna be a quick starching or the first round's gonna look ugly, and I think he only has the second or third round to catch something. If he goes to the 4th or 5th super late, it's gonna be all Khabib, guys. Maybe I'm doing this because my main event streak has ended, so it's like, all right, let's just get risky with this one. But no, man, I think he got a very good shot. The odds are great. Might have to throw some money on Justin Gaethje. DraftKings cards, I'll have a bit of both. But I'm going to have to roll with Justin Gaethje to get the upset over Khabib. And I know people are not going to agree with me. Let me know in the comments who y'all got. Let me know why. And trust me, if you're rolling with Khabib, I totally understand why. You don't even got to tell me the reasons. Just say Khabib, duh. I get it. I'm going to take Justin Gaethje for the upset. All right, so my underdogs of the night. All right, I got 2 of them. Shavat Rakhmonov against Oliveira. I think he can come in strong, like I said. Oliveira is a 500 fighter, and sometimes he comes in there and just throws caution to the wind, and he'll give up a neck or something. And Rakhmonov is not a joke. He's very scrappy. He's pretty technical, not too bad. So I would not be surprised if he gets it done there. So that's my one underdog. And then I got to go with the one that I actually picked to get a win, and that's Ian Cutelaba over Ankalaev. Those are my 2 underdogs of the night. All right, my locks of the night. Let me see. Okay. So I'm taking Lauren Murphy to have the lock of the night. She was a minus 240, so that's expected, right? And then also I'm gonna have to go with Jung Dong Un over Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey I can see coming in as a nice little underdog, maybe a good DK play if he actually comes through. I just doubt that, so I'm gonna have to go with Jung Dong Un. I kind of expect to hit on all four of these. Sometimes I get a little riskier, but man, I got risky with the main event. Let me be a little safe on my underdogs and my locks. This is the Scrapper Tap Podcast. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.